Good morning.
Morning.
It's November. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. This is how I start the day, knowing good is on the way. I am claiming perfect health, love and laughter, friends and wealth. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. With conviction undeterred, and the power of a spoken word, take my life and redefine. Break the shackles of my mind. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing.
I lift my thoughts to higher ground, knowing miracles are all around. Each day unfolds as it should, while I'm focusing on the good. Life is filled with opportunity. I wonder what good has come to me.
In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing.
Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Good. All right. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me repeat that. Good morning. I'm Bob Uhlar, a minister here at Unity of the Hill Country. A positive path for spiritual living. Let's do an opening prayer. This is God's house. May we who come here not only find out about God, but find God. May there be beauty in this place, but especially may it be a place where everybody becomes aware of the beauty in themselves. May this be a place of worship. May this be a place of instruction. May this be a place of singing. May this be a place of prayer. But for us who worship and take instruction and sing and pray, may this always be a place of inner stillness where we may listen to hear when God speaks. May whoever ministers here minister in love. May whoever teaches here teach truth. May whoever serves here serve pleasantly. May everyone come into this house in expectation and go with thanksgiving. And may anyone who comes needing help go feeling blessed. May this be such a house that Jesus Christ or any stranger, even one of the least of us, would feel that they were with friends here. Amen. We stream our services on Facebook and eventually onto YouTube. I want to welcome anybody watching online. Let's take a moment to just connect in consciousness. Please feel free to comment and introduce yourselves online, and this is our time to be together, to share in love. Feel free to post and tweet about Unity of the Hill Country, but please silence your phones so it does not disturb our gathering. Unity is an inclusive spiritual community. We offer practical, uplifting resources to help people of all faiths apply positive spiritual principles. Unity offers practical spiritual teachings that empower abundant and meaningful living. Please join me in affirming our mission and vision statements. To live consciously and celebrating the divine potential in all. And then our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power active in my life. God, God the good, omnipotent. It is Celebration Sunday. First Sunday, we ask people to go ahead and testify about the good in their lives. So birthdays, anniversaries, or something that's happened, that's invigorated you. Anybody have anything they want to share for November? Danny.
Coming up on number 78 is still chicken.
All right. Anyone else? Amy. Oh, yeah. Okay. To repeat for those hearing online, Danny's celebrating his 78th birthday on November 13th. Amy Duchamp, her birthday is November 11th, you said, right? And she's anticipating the arrival of her parents from California. They just needed to have some place where they could be with some place safe, so they're coming, like you said, a week later on the 16th. Okay. Mr. Bailey. November 26th? So November 26th is the birthday, where the whole world gives thanks that we have Jay Bailey on this planet. So yes, all right. Carla. November 8th. All right. Carol.
Just wanted to tell everybody that Mandy and Dave got moved yesterday after quite a bit of a hassle over it, and so they're in their new house this morning.
So Mandy Russell and Dave Russell moved into their new house yesterday, so they're waking up in their new master bedroom for the first time. Carla Golden. Reverend Carla is celebrating 1 full month of treatment for Parkinson's. They do physical therapy and occupational therapy, and she worked with some wonderful therapists over there at Peterson. So, anyone else?
On Halloween, I celebrated a 1-year anniversary of my retirement from practicing medicine for 32 years.
Oh, wow.
Those years were at the Kurt VA hospital here, and so because Veterans Day is coming up, like Andy said, I'm
Yeah.
shout out to Jack, Danny, and any other veterans here and anywhere. Literally, the land is. And thank you for your service, and I can't say enough to say thank you for what you've done for our country.
Mm-hmm. I know my birthday was October 28th. We got a lot of Scorpios in the house. I pity the rest of you. Okay, so let's do our universal blessing for all of those who are celebrating what you're celebrating. So, let's know and see that the divine is in each one of them. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you. We also have cheesecake and carrot cake afterwards. Stay around for a little while, celebrate, apply that refined sugar to your system. Okay, well, I've got a video I want to show you.
Here's a few reasons why people don't go to church.
I can't come to church until I get my life together.
Church is how I got my life together.
Church is filled with a bunch of hypocrites. And there's always room for one more. All they care about is your money.
They care about me, not about my money.
Is there some kind of dress code?
Yes, the code is wear some clothes. Church, it just makes me nervous. I was nervous at first, and then I felt right at home. I'm not sure I believe everything that you believe.
But you can still belong. Church is for wimpy, girly men.
You want to sit out again?
If you knew me and what I've done, you wouldn't want me.
If you knew me and what I've done, you wouldn't be worried.
You can come to my church even if you were brought up Catholic,
Baptist,
Methodist,
Jewish,
Mormon,
Lutheran, Pentecostal,
Presbyterian,
Church of Christ.
Southern Baptist.
a little bit of everything and a whole lot of nothing.
See, it's not about a religion, it's about a relationship.
So please, come to my church.
Where nobody's perfect,
Where beginners are welcome.
Where socks are optional, but grace is required.
Where forgiveness is offered.
where hope is alive.
And where it's okay to not be okay. Really.
So yeah, we're coming up here on Christmas and New Year's. So after getting feedback from you and observing what people really wanted last year, we're going to do our Christmas Eve falls on Sunday, as does New Year's Eve fall on Sunday. So what we're going to do is one service on each of those days at 3:30. So we'll have the candlelight service at 3:30. I know a lot of you are saying, I just don't like driving after dark. And we did it last year. That was where we got the best turnout, was at the 3 o'clock rather than the 7 o'clock. So, and then the same thing with the Burning Bowl release service. So you just get, it's time, a few hours before the new year, to just let everything go. Now, we've been doing this Keys to the Kingdom series. Make sure you grab one of those spiral-bound books out there so that you can look over what it is we've been covering, pass it on to somebody else who doesn't perhaps needs it. And then I've still got our visibility project list out there. If you pick that up, we're trying to build relationships with the community. So maybe you've already got a relationship built. Maybe you volunteer someplace in particular. That's very helpful in just kind of getting in the door and establishing some sort of collaboration. So that's what's going on. So let's move on. The Daily Word. Daily Word helps keep the Unity movement connected worldwide since 1924. This week's reader is Mr. Phil Robertson. Right up against your chin there.
Good morning. Transitions. I flow with life's changes. Looking at my image in a mirror, I see myself at times when my life is changing. I may see the grinning child who lost a tooth for the very first time, or the proud student on graduation day. I recall my ambitions as I embarked on my several careers. Maybe I feel a tinge of sadness revisiting the pain of the loss I felt during my most difficult transitions. As I have grown spiritually, I have learned to flow with life's transitions. I know that even during the most challenging changes, God remains a constant presence. I will always be divinely protected and one in God with the people I have loved. Moving willingly and gratefully through my many transitions deepens and strengthens my awareness of God and of myself as a divine being. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 tells us, "For everything there's a season and a time for every matter under heaven."
Thank you. The entire unity movement was started with answered prayer. Myrtle Fillmore had been diagnosed with tuberculosis, feeling weak, and she heard someone talk about prayer, meditation, how to focus on the chakras and heal yourself. And this was back in 1889. We are honored to pray with you. Place a prayer request in our prayer box near the door in our lobby, or you can email us. Just go to unityhillcountry.org, click on the Ministries tab, and you'll find the prayer request form. So it's now time to quiet our minds. Our meditation song this week is All Is Well. Feel free to follow along with the words on the screen if you care to, as we settle into meditation and prayer.
All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and all is well. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and all is well. Life is good, and so it is.
Feel that all is well. If you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes. Relax. Ground the energy of your physical body. Feel the back of the chair against your back. Feel your feet flat on the floor, grounding the energy as if you're growing roots. Your left ear, is it feeling cool or is it warm right now? Your body is safe, secure. But we are spiritual beings having this human experience. So let's drop into that spiritual being. Draw our focus from our head down to our heart, from our heart to the very center of our torso. A gateway of chi, the divine energy, just radiating out in all directions. In the seat of our intuition. We are open and receptive to God's living spirit of truth. And as we allow any illusion of separation between ourselves and God to just melt away, we feel that oneness that's always there. We know there is a divine guidance for us, a loving, nurturing voice to guide us. In unity, whenever we take time to meditate and pray, we pray for others as well. So let's start there. Bring to mind any individuals, any groups, any situations you'd like to pray for now. We include all other prayer requests received here at unityhillcountry.org and in our prayer box in the lobby. And without knowing the specifics, we just see and to know that there is a divine substance, a divine potential, and a divine perfection in and expressing through each of these prayer requests as wholeness, as their highest good, embracing the full spectrum of prosperity in their lives. Let's pray for unity of the Hill Country. We see this amazing spiritual cooperative thriving in consciousness, people, and revenues today and every day hereafter. The God presence as unity of the Hill Country is a divine magnet, attracting anyone who can benefit from who we are and what we are about. Attracting health, prosperity, love, and joy to unity of the Hill Country and all who are guided here today and every day hereafter. I now invite you to take the words I'm about to speak as your own prayer words in this meditation this morning. I am ready, willing, and able to practice doing gratitude, knowing the power of opening my heart chakra. Allow the love to pour forth into my experience. A willingness to give thanks in all circumstances, knowing that as a spiritual being having a human experience, I am divinely guided and divinely protected. And as I prepare for 3 minutes of silence, I embrace and express this divine idea of gratitude in the silence. thank you, thank you, thank you. I now radiate love to all God's creation and accept the multiplied love coming back in return. This week, in the forefront of my mind, I will become conscious of the good in my life. I will praise the good in my life. I will share my good with others. I will look for the good even in the most unpleasant circumstances. And for my ever-growing awareness of the omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence of God, I am grateful. I pray all of these things in the name and the nature and the power that we know is symbolized by Jesus Christ. And as we draw our focus back here to the sanctuary, I'll share the invocation written by one of our co-founders, Charles Fillmore. We are now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. We acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. And by divine wisdom now erase our mortal limitations. And from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation our world according to thy perfect law. Amen. Let's sing the Alleluia chant together. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay, let's a virtual hug and good morning. Good morning. I want to apologize. People have been talking about how they're just having difficulty hearing me. And yet this headset that I'm wearing is supposed to be one of the clearest microphones that you can hear. And in what I discovered this week is that I've had it too far back on my face. And that's why you could hear it. The instructions and the manufacturer say it needs to be within a ½ inch of the corner of your mouth. That's the way this one is designed, where other ones will have the microphone back here or down here. So give me some feedback as far as, if you're hearing things better. I think we've solved the issue. So thank you. Back when Carl and I were in Unity's seminary, it was a 2-year program, 8 quarters straight through. And we would have certain classes on certain days. So on Tuesday mornings, starting at 9 o'clock, we had prayer. And we had our instructor. And of course, if you're taking a prayer class, it's good to practice prayer. And at the very beginning of the program, we paired up with 3 or 4 other people. So I had my group. I think we were randomly together, whatever. 5 of us, and they said, okay, today what we want you to do is just go ahead and find a secluded place, meditate and pray on gratitude. And so we were all kind of looking for our spot, and one of the students said, hey, I know someplace that isn't being used right now. It's the boardroom for the dean. So we went in there. We're praying gratitude and just putting it out there and just waiting for the insights we would get. And then suddenly our teacher poked her head in the room and said, need you guys to come back to the classroom. And so we came back to the classroom. And on this Tuesday morning, we were told what was going on in the world. It was September 11th, 2001. I have been astounded over the years about the incongruency of what we're praying for and what we're experiencing. I remember the year of the Sandy Hook shootings. The lesson I had prepared for that week was on joy. You know, so a lot of times we are challenging ourselves to look beyond the physical appearances and the physical circumstances of the world to see the good that's there. We are now, this is part 6 of a 7-part series on the spiritual principles of prosperity. As I've said before, people talk about this prosperity gospel in the evangelical church. That's not what we're about. What we're about is taking all of the various tools together and how do I live an abundant and thriving life? As I mentioned before, we've got this spiral-bound little playbook, as I'm calling it, that people can look through, and it'll help remind you over time these principles. And if you are watching online and you'd like a copy, just let us know. Give us your address. We'll mail it to you, or you can stop by during office hours and pick it up. I would like to see, I'm setting the intention that each of us are going to live our life to the full potential. As we thrive as individuals, we'll thrive as a group, and we can thrive as a broader community. This is based on the prosperity class, Keys to the Kingdom by Reverend David Owen Ritz. Now, if you missed any of the lessons, you want to watch the videos, just go to our website, unityhillcountry.org, scroll down, and you'll see the links to our YouTube page, or you can watch it on Facebook. We save it there too. So, let me quickly recap what it is that we've been covering. In the first part, I talked about just committing to the program and understanding the 4T concept, and that is to be willing to tithe of our time, our talent, and our treasure. Being willing to give away 10% of the hours we focus on God. You know, I say 96 minutes every day. It doesn't have to be 96 consecutive minutes, but meditate, pray. I know when I go work out at the gym, I listen to spiritual lessons that I've collected over the years. So that would be the tithing of your time, 10% of that. And then your talent, volunteering somewhere, anywhere, here or elsewhere in the community, but you want to just be able to put out that good energy. And then being willing to give 10% of your treasure, give away 10% of your gross to wherever you want to see thrive, where you see God at work in your experience. Because whatever we focus on is going to expand. And whatever we give our energy to will come back multiplied. So if we can set up this spiral that we're all bringing out the best in each other, that's the first step. Now, the second one was a broader vision for your life, really sitting down and, what are my true desires? Let's get rid of the whims, but what are the true desires? What do I want to do? What's my bucket list? Whatever. So, and then 3 was building a new awareness, looking at our general assumptions about life. And then I gave you the 7 spiritual truths in the book and seeing, do you agree with those truths, or is your belief system or assumption in conflict with that? Because if we let go of that, we can truly allow this divine energy to flow through our lives every day. Then make room for the new. And then a lot of people said this week was fun. We are the law of circulation, uncluttering your life, recognizing everything is vibrating energy. So Fibber McGee's closet, but being willing to just, get rid of the stuff that you don't need, you don't want, letting go of your maybe emotional attachment to physical items, but just get that energy out there. Set up a void in your life so other things can come into your life which are definitely more appropriate. Last week I had let go of the past, being willing to forgive, to really look at, who do I need to untie the emotional attachment to? And of course, so many of us, I don't know about you, but with me, is just forgiving myself. And part of that process is recognizing that when something happened where I did something that I regret, that perhaps it was part of the divine order in everything. I had to play my role. So this week we're going to talk about counting your blessings. We're going to activate the law of attraction by counting our blessings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are co-creating with God, and the key is to be conscious about it. You've always been creating with God. The first time I walked into a Unity church, Unity in Chicago in early 1987 with Carla, I was like, wow. I grew up Catholic, and so I had my general assumptions about God and how God worked. This is fantastic. And my intuition, that center, like, yeah, this is what I've always believed. I've never found anybody else who believes it. I always thought I was weird. And yes, I know I am weird, but, just... But picture this minister. The actor Ed Asner who played Lou Grant? Unity's minister was like that. He was a Chicago native, and so he'd get up there, like in Chicago, we like to shuck the truth right down to the cob, And he says, oh, are you ready to take total responsibility for everything you've experienced in your life? But as he explained it a little bit further, it was like, yeah, I've been creating this crap fest simply because I was not aware that I had a choice in the matter. The idea is to move past that idea that life is happening to us and understanding that no, life happens through us. If we can align ourselves with this divine energy, things begin to flow. The interesting thing is when you look at all the spiritual traditions, they have this nugget of truth in them somewhere. So it's time for us to just step into our power, be willing to be in and with the flow, move from an observer of your life to indeed the player in your life. Back in 1986, I shared with you that, I broke up with my first wife, and I moved in with my brother. He had a covered porch, that I was sleeping in. And as I started to get aware of my co-creating of my life, I woke up one morning, I'm looking at the ceiling and realizing the abject fear I was feeling. It's like, oh crap, what's going to happen to me today? And it was just one of those moments where I caught myself and wait a minute. This is the way I have been living my life for these first 30 years. What's going to happen to me today? Oh, let the imagination run wild as to what's going to happen to me today. And no wonder things were unfolding in a way that I prefer they hadn't. And as I mentioned, I grew up Catholic in Chicago there, went to a Catholic grammar school. And, coming out of all of that, I shunned the Bible because, I looked at what people were preaching about it. I saw others using it and abusing it, causing religious abuse on people. So it's like, so I get to Unity in Chicago, and then they start talking about, okay, there's this embedded symbolism that if you understand it, you can understand, hey, this is a spiritual guidebook you can use at any time, anywhere. You just have to move past and really understand and embrace the symbolism. And, you look at all of these places, the book of Job, 22nd chapter, 28th verse. Now, for those of you who are somewhat familiar with the story, Job is not having a very pleasant experience. But he is told, you will decide on a matter and it will be established for you. Light will shine on your ways. Gospel of Luke, 18th chapter, 27th verse. Jesus says, what is impossible with men is possible with God. Gospel of Mark, 9th chapter, 23rd verse. Jesus said to the man, all things are possible to him who believes. Immediately the father of the child cried out and said, I believe, but help my unbelief. You ever been there? You don't have to be 100% sure, but ask that divine nature symbolized by God to say, okay, at least shove me up to 51% so I can keep moving forward. And then the Gospel of Matthew, 9th chapter, 28th verse. When Jesus entered the house, the blind men came to him. Jesus said to them, "Do you believe that I am able to heal you?" And they said to him, "Yes, Lord." He touched their eyes, but he said, "According to your faith be it done to you." And their eyes were open. In Unity, there's been a sentence that's been kicked around for a lot of years. It was actually created by Martha Judici. She and her husband were husband and wife ministers at the Unity congregation right there at Unity Village, Missouri. And the sentence is, "Thoughts held in mind create after their kind." And we had a conversation about this in seminary. It's like, well, yeah, we can honor the sentiment, but we have a lot of thoughts that just kind of pop into our mind and pop out. So what I think she's trying to say is beliefs. Here again, the general assumptions we have about life. Beliefs held in mind create after their kind. Now, many of us have heard and read in Genesis, first chapter 26 verse, so that we are made in the image and likeness of God. I had one woman say I was standing there naked in front of the mirror, and I was like, why would God want to look like this? No. What? We are a creative being. So yeah, and this is why we use the word co-creator so often. It's like, if we just get out of the way of that divine flow and then recognize, okay, what were the gifts, passions, and talents I was given that I can make this world a better place? And why am I holding back on expressing them? Why am I holding back helping other people? And to just allow that to happen. So with this sixth key to the kingdom, we activate the law of attraction by counting our blessings. Now, gratitude is very powerful spiritual energy. It is an act of love. We've talked about vision. We've talked about writing down our goals, our feelings, our emotions, our passions. So taking action is a belief. Gratitude is this creative energy. I know Oprah Winfrey has touted, for decades, putting together, a gratitude journal. Of course, Oprah would say the most powerful book that changed her life was Discover the Power Within You by Eric Butterworth, Reverend Eric Butterworth, a Unity minister from New York City. Whatever we focus on expands. So whatever we focus on with love and gratitude kind of accelerates the process. Here again, just being willing to put up the good, accept the good when it comes back to us. There is ways, or I should say there are ways to abuse this energy. It's amazing how much passion some people put into worry. Like I talked about that morning, looking up and saying, oh God, what's going to happen to me today? And it's like, well, wait a minute, what do I want to have happen to me today? And being willing to do that. We also delay our good by saying, okay, well, yeah, I will do what it is I really need to do when this happens. It's like, well, what if that never happens? Or what if we let go of the idea that we have to hold off and allow ourselves to do it now? Now, the attitude of gratitude, I have heard people talk about it, and I've seen there's an oversimplification to what's going on. So there's a difference between gratitude before something happens and after something happens. If it's after something happens, you're being polite. If it's before something happens, it could be a form of prayer. I know Ed Rabel, one of the teachers there at Unity Village, said, Jesus, when you look at the four Gospels, Unity is very big into the affirmative prayer. Speak in the present tense and affirm it. He says, but when you look at the four Gospels, Jesus had three ways of praying. Asking, affirming, and giving thanks in advance. Asking, affirming, and giving thanks in advance. So yeah, don't get hung up on just thinking all you need to do is when Jesus was asked to come because Lazarus had died, he gave thanks in advance that Lazarus would walk forth from the tomb. When he was faced with 5,000 hungry people, the loaves and fishes, he gave thanks in advance, knowing the food was going to be there one way or another. So, Can we be proactive in our gratitude? Can we move beyond being grateful to doing grateful? In the first letter to the Thessalonians, 5th chapter, 15th verse, Paul writes, "See, none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to all. Rejoice always, pray constantly, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God." So, when the brown organic refuse is hitting the rotary oscillator, it can be very easy to shun the idea of having gratitude for that. That's not what he wrote. He didn't write, "Be thankful for everything." Gee, thanks. Instead, he's saying, "Be thankful in all circumstances." Oh, thank God I'm a spiritual being, having a human experience. And thank God I am going to see past these appearances and find the good in this. What's the lesson? What is it I'm supposed to learn? What is it I'm supposed to do in this situation? There are 4 tools to doing gratitude. And of course, these will be the takeaways you've got on your handout. Number 1 is to become conscious of the good in your life. I know when I first learned these principles, I looked at my life, and even though 95% of my life was great, I noticed that I was often focused on the 5% that was not particularly pleasant. And whatever we focus on expands. So, what are these 5 areas of your life? You got health, occupation, relationships, consciousness, and money. Can we bring a balance into all 5 of them? Because usually one of them or 2 of them aren't doing as well as the others. But we have these underlying needs, so are we willing to dig that a little bit deeper? What am I truly grateful for here? I am so grateful and happy that. Let me give you an example. Let's say Carla sends me flowers at work, which she has. And I could say, "Oh, I am so grateful for the flowers." But no, what I'm really grateful, I am so grateful that Carla thought of me on my birthday and sent flowers to work. That's the underlying need, is my connection, my love, my wanting to have a loving, intimate companion. So dig a little deeper. What's your underlying need? Now, the rest of the story, think about this. This is 1988. So remember homophobia and LGBTQ attitudes. 1988, I am the editor of this all-news station. I'm at the center of the newsroom with like 35 people all working at once, looking to Bob for guidance. And I get these flowers, roses, on my birthday. And people come up and look at the cards and say, "Bob, I love you so much, Carlos." And so here we'd be together for about 6 months putting together this all-news radio station where people are like, I don't get the gay vibe from Reverend Bob, but so... All right, so I am grateful. I am grateful to Kit and Mac McClure, who in 1976 moved here from San Diego to Kerrville and started a Unity study group. I'm grateful to Joan McKee, who said she'd be willing to come out and lead this group from San Antonio, move out here and establish a Unity congregation. I'm grateful that in 1983 this congregation was incorporated and that we've had many loving ministers serve pleasantly, including Reverend Patty here. And I'm grateful that, back in, say, 2010, they decided to build this wonderful building, opening it 2013, for Easter. I'm grateful that they saw the power of this unity philosophy and were willing to pay it forward as to making sure that this place was here today so that you can be here and that I can be talking to you. Albert Schweitzer has a wonderful quote. "At times our light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of another who rekindled our flame. So who has helped you recognize once again the truth about yourselves? Number 2 is praise the good in your life. Now, the word praise is powerful because what it's saying is, okay, this is actually stepping it up from gratitude. I mean, in serving one congregation, I had a young man who just had a horrible relationship with his father. His father had passed away. And I recognized in the counseling session what he really needed to do is to have someone say, I am so proud of you. You have done remarkable things with the adversity you've had in your life. Whatever, here again, whatever we praise is going to help multiply that creative energy. When I write a check, for the tithe or whatever, I mean, it's getting less and less that I'm actually writing a check, you know how that is. But I write, God is my source above my signature, just to remind me, okay, let me be in a place where I am grateful and I'm willing to send out, share my good. Reverend David Owen Ritz, who, like I said, wrote this course, Keys to the Kingdom, said he came up with this idea of I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. He says that didn't fit on the checks very well. So he came up with the acronym, IGTFTATIMTS. And he'd write that above his signature. And he shared that one Sunday with his congregation. That this woman came up afterwards. God, this was back in the early 90s. She goes, thank you. She says, she worked for one of the local utility companies. She goes, we get these checks. And it had this thing on it, IGTFTATIMTS, and we didn't know what it was. And the one woman said, I bet someone's trying to curse us. And I know I have my list of bills like a lot of us do, and at the top, I think I got this from Reverend Catherine Ponder. I give thanks for your immediate and complete payment. You are immediately and completely paid through the rich avenues of divine substance. I guess if you actually desire to have a copy of these, just shoot me an email. I'll send these to you. But okay, number 3, share your good with others. We've talked about that with the tithing, recognizing, okay, pay your commission to your agent. Okay, God, here's 10%. Put it out there and allow the other energy to come in. And be willing to help other people. Now, as I probably told you to the point that you don't want to hear it anymore, I'm from Chicago. And we had this congressional representative, Rostenkowski, up in Chicago. He was elected to Congress in 1958. His father was a politician. He became very good friends and worked with Jack Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. And he eventually worked his way up in seniority to be the head of the Ways and Means Committee in 1981. Now, the Ways and Means Committee is probably the most powerful committee on the House of Representatives side, because they essentially come together with the taxation policies. It's like, how are we going to pay for all of this stuff? And I saw an interview with him, and he says, how do you do this? People say you're just the master negotiator. You find ways of collaborating, with Republicans in ways that people are just stunned. And Rostenkowski said, it's amazing what you can get done in Washington if you let someone else take credit for your work. And I know when I do meet with people and counsel people, how can I help you? What are maybe your needs that, you're not being met? And I've heard Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders say the same thing. He's the head of these various committees. It's like, yeah. If you're willing to collaborate and then allow somebody to carry the flag and say, yeah, I did this. I'm the leader of the parade. And then number 4, look for the good, even in the unpleasant. Like in that first book of the Bible, Genesis 50th chapter, you've got Joseph, and he is once again confronting the brothers who left him to die. And he says, as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that I can help many people and that they should be kept alive as they are today. So I've shared with you my parts of my story, like I said, 1986, staring up at a ceiling with fear, going through the divorce with my first wife, meeting Carla, discovering Unity in Chicago. Some of you are experiencing pain. And what I want you to know is that you're not alone. Whatever it is, use these tools. Come have a conversation with me. Before the service, someone was thinking, we have coffee sometime? Yes, I'm always open to getting together with you. If you want to do it here or elsewhere, just let's have a chance to talk. I'd like to get to know you better. But I know Carla and I were talking about this last night because someone was talking about how they're fighting their illness. And I've got a sister who, came down with breast cancer, in the early 90s. I'm going to fight this. Rather than fight something or ignore it, why not embrace it? What's the lesson I have here? What is my body trying to tell me? What is this situation brought into my life to help me understand? Emma Curtis Hopkins was this wonderful teacher of New Thought and Metaphysics in Chicago. She taught Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. She taught Ernest Holmes, the Science of Mind Centers for Living guy. The Brooks sisters who started the Divine Science movement. And she talked about this, okay, you've got this brown organic material, thing. And she says, affirm this, say, this too is good. This too is God. This too is there for me. And I demand to see the blessing in it. Okay, now I want you to put your hands on your hips and say this with me. I'll give you one phrase at a time. This too is good. This too is God. This too is there for me. I demand to see the blessing in it. And as I've shared with you, I've got my own personal, God, show me the goodness, because I don't have a clue. And I'm willing to see this as a blessing rather than a curse. Okay. The takeaways for you on your handout: become conscious of the good in your life. And here again, once we set up that radar, it's amazing how we see things we didn't see before. Praise the good in your life, share the good with others, and then look for the good even in the unpleasant. I do have a video that I want to share with you from Steve Hartman of the CBS Evening News.
Which pictures do we have here? Anything current?
Jeff and Angela are in that getting to know you stage of their relationship. But unlike most couples going through this discovery period,
remember that.
Jeff and Angela Hartung of Tulsa, Oklahoma,
What did we do when we were there?
are married and have been for the past 17 years.
I don't remember.
So much was lost after the accident.
About 5 years ago, Angela got hit by a car while crossing this intersection in New York City. She suffered a traumatic brain injury and was in a coma for about a month. When she woke up, she was trapped in the past.
I don't remember anything at all. I asked for my two children. Thought they were like 2 and 8 years old. They were 17 and 23 years old. Sue, you're sweet.
Angela had no memory of at least the last 15 years of her life. She thought she was still married to her first husband, who died long ago, and had no recollection whatsoever of her second wedding to Jeff, or anything about Jeff, which left him with a question that had no easy answer: how to go from stranger back to spouse. He started by lining virtually every inch of their home with pictures, reminders of happier days. Then he began courting his wife.
What about that one up there?
And most importantly, he never left her side.
I love how you helped me.
And eventually, it worked, which called for a celebration, one Angela would never forget.
We're gathered here today as witnesses for Jeff and Angela. as they renew their vows of holy matrimony.
Earlier this month, surrounded by friends and family in New York's Central Park, Jeff and Angela started the next chapter of their storybook tale.
Today, I choose you, Angela.
Again.
Again.
Now kiss your bride,
Of course, those painful years would have broken a lot of marriages. But Jeff believes the accident did quite the opposite for his.
I honestly believe that this happened for a reason.
You feel like it's a blessing that this happened, not the injuries, but the fact that you had to prove yourself all over again?
I do. To be able to do over. How many times have we said, oh, I wish I could go back and do something over again? I've gotten to do that.
And that's the beauty of having a second chance at finding your one true love. Steve Hartman, on the road in New York.
Closing Bible verse, that letter to the Thessalonians, 5th chapter, 15th verse. See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to all. Rejoice always, pray constantly, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. And may you always be open to God's guidance and grace. It's now time for some music. We're glad you're here. We hope you're finding a place of like-minded people and a place to belong. We teach spiritual tools that can help you no matter what is going on in your life. We have a weekly email that we send out, so we would just need your email address. We have a slip in our welcome packet. In fact, generosity is important to us. We'll donate $5 to a local charity of your choice. Just write your email on that sheet in our welcome packet and leave it with one of our ushers in the office. You can pick up a welcome packet from an usher on the way out. Don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want, we'll bring you one right now. You don't have to do anything else, but just raise your hand and we'll bring you a welcome packet. Okay. So, we now have an opportunity to support our spiritual cooperative. We have a QR code. It's on your handouts. You can use that to jump straight to our donation page on our website. You can go to unityhillcountry.org, click on the donate button. From the online donation page, you can schedule a one-time payment or consider setting up a monthly or weekly contribution. Checks can be mailed to our address here at 1016 Jefferson Street, Kerrville, Texas, 78028. Ushers, please bring the offering baskets up now. And let's pour praise into our financial situation. The love flowing forth into this wallet, this checkbook, these cards that we carry. See and know that it is prospering energy. Let's say that our offertory blessing, the words are on the screen. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, all that I receive. I send it forth with my blessings and love. And we now further bless this offering. We have let go. We have released this energy, knowing that it will bless all that it touches. We see it going out into our community through paying our bills, through paying our tithes, and we see it blessing all that it affects. Amen. We've got some announcements. Now, remember, it's Celebration Sunday, so you're not allowed to leave here until you have some cake or pie. Course in Miracles, a spiritual self-improvement class very much in alignment with Unity, meets at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. on Mondays. The Serenity Al-Anon group meets at noon on Mondays, and this is for people who have someone who's addicted in their life and really kind of needs the support. Like, how can I help this person? But let's also recognize that we need to take good care of ourselves as well. We have the Center of Calm Meditation group meets weekly at 10:30 on Thursdays, usually about 45 minutes out there in the chapel. We also meet out there at 10:15 on Sundays. You can go out there for about a half hour. If you would like to use the chapel at other times of the week, we've actually got a little key lock box there, so just ask for the code and we can put that in there and you can go in there and just insulate, cocoon, pray, meditate. Codependence Anonymous meets weekly on Thursdays. I got to get my tongue fixed. Codependent Anonymous meets weekly on Thursdays. This is an open meeting for anyone interested. Coda.org. Of course, we had the movie a couple of years ago. Child of a deaf adult. This is actually for codependence. That sense of feeling like we need to have anybody else's approval to live life. So, if you are on Facebook, join our special group, Unity Spiritual Network. It allows us to stay connected, have a community online, ask questions, exchange ideas. We are 2 weeks away from our next Abundant Sunday, which is going to be our Thanksgiving potluck. So if you're planning on bringing a dish, there's a sign-up sheet in the lobby so that we can make sure we've got a good balance of things. So that we don't end up with, say, 5 bags or 5 dishes of mashed potatoes and no pumpkin pie. Nothing could be worse than that. And if you'd like an opportunity to serve our community or would like to start a special project, we've got the platform assistant. I'm doing it today because we had somebody who just had to cancel at the last minute, and I didn't want to throw that curveball at anybody else. So if you'd like to do stuff like this or be an usher or help in the office, or like I said, just find ways to help. Put that good energy out. But let us know. We're looking for volunteers in these various areas. If you want to get over your fear of public speaking, this is a good way to do it. Okay, we've come to the end of our gathering. So let's circle up, join hands, sing the peace song, followed by the prayer for protection, and just feel that energy flow through our hands and arms. peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. Where God as Creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And now on the screen you'll see the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen.